Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Yes, and we're going to go through everything that I watched in the cinema as well as on Blu-ray during the month of September. Yes, what I watched during the month of September, the final what I watched before I become a dad, because the next time I do what I watched, I will be a dad. Oh God. And there's going to be quite a lot. It's 17 movies that I watched during the month of September. There's going to be probably a lot less next month because I'm going to be a lot busier with a little baby, of course, in October. So we'll see. We will start, however, though, with the cinema, of course, and we will go in order of all the movies that I watched. Now, the majority of these I haven't really done shorts for, and this month has been a month of going to see a lot of older films in the cinema, to be honest. I haven't been to see as many new films in September. So the first movie then that I watched in September is A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. This I gave a 2.5 star. The Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell rom-com, I guess, was pretty good, but I found it to be very much a one-time watch. It had its good moments, it had its good visuals, and it's very, very nice aesthetics to it. Some good performances, though. I think Margot Robbie especially was brilliant in the film. Colin Farrell was okay, but he was still pretty good. But they had very good chemistry to pair them together. But as I say, I think for me, it was very much one-time watch vibes, and not something I would rush to watch again immediately anyways. Probably watch it in the future with my other half. It's that kind of film. I think she'd enjoy it, but yeah, one-time watch, and okay performances. I think Margot Robbie definitely stole the show for me. It took a while to get your head around there, and there was a lot of influences in there, I felt, from like a Yorgos Lanthimos kind of movie. It felt very Poor Things vibes in terms of the filmed on a stage. Very obvious that it was filmed on a stage at some parts, and yeah, but it gave a good vibe and nice overall vibes to the film. The next one then in the cinema was a 60th anniversary, believe it or not. I think it's 60 or 50. I think it's 60. Sound of Music. One of my other half's favourite films. I gave it a 3.5 star. I think it's okay. I think it's 7 out of 10. It definitely is better in the first half of the film, and it does tail off then, I think, towards the end of the film. A very, very unique, very, very good story, of course, and also very, very amazing songs. You can't get better than Sound of Music, in my opinion. Of course, Julie Andrews as Maria. I haven't seen it for years. It's going to be coming on 4K. I think America's already got it, but we're going to be getting in the UK probably in a couple of months. Yeah, really enjoy it. Good film. I do have the original Blu-ray of it, but I don't. I've never seen the actual, seen it on the big screen. So we went to go and see it in the cinema, and that was good. This was a second new release of the month. Then the next one is The Long Walk, the Stephen King novelization. Stephen King novel, which we've had a couple of these this year. I gave it a 2.5 star. Wasn't a fan of The Long Walk as much as maybe other people are. I found the characters to be quite unengaging, and that could be down to the actual actors that were in the roles. The corporal in there was actually Mark Hamill, which I thought was quite unique for his style of acting. I didn't really get a good vibe of his performance. Yeah, it just felt quite average, and to be honest, I think the reason why I scored a 2.5 is it felt quite streaming movie it didn't really feel that big of a budget and that fantastic and that much of a spectacle to see on the big screen. So the whole experience was quite undervalued for me. So I gave it a 2.5 star. Probably would never see it again. But if you are a Stephen King fan and you like his books and you like his stories and whatnot, you probably will enjoy it, because a lot of other people did. I just didn't. So 2.5 star. Another film that I saw in the cinema was The Conjuring: The Last Rites. Now, I did watch the original Conjuring universe movies in prep for this, which I'll get to when I get to my Blu-ray part of the video. But The Conjuring: Last Rites, of course, is the latest movie in the Conjuring universe. And to be honest, it's doing fantastically in the box office. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was thoroughly entertaining. A very, very good climax to the actual story of The Conjuring, especially watching them all in the space of a week before, of course, watching, The Conjuring: Last Rites. I don't know, I just thought it was really good. It ended it out quite well. We saw the whole journey from their daughter going, from child all the way up to adult now, and she has a pivotal role in this film, of course, with her other half as well as her boyfriend, who's actually Peter Beale. He was Peter Beale on EastEnders way back when, so that was a bit of a jarring moment in terms of, yep, that person's not Peter Beale anymore. But yeah, fantastic. Really enjoyed The Last Rites, and I think, as I say, it just ends the whole Conjuring universe off at a really good point, in my opinion. Obviously, I want more. I like the Conjuring universe, but the Conjuring films, for me, definitely are better than all of the others, which we'll get into when we go through the watches, of course, in the Blu-ray watches. Next, we have the start of a trilogy of movies that I saw over the space of an entire weekend. The first being, of course, Spider-Man 1. This is the entire Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi trilogy that they showed in cinemas. I gave it a 4.5 star, and it reminded me how good the first one is. The last time I watched the Spider-Man movies from Sam Raimi was when I got got the 4Ks actually, and I watched them in run up to, of course, seeing No Way Home in the cinema. And yeah, it was fantastic to watch them, but to see it on the big screen, to hear the music from Danny Elfman, which is so underrated, you know, was just fantastic. And of course, you know, just made me realize how much Spider-Man 1 is so slept on because Spider-Man 2 is so amazing. But Spider-Man 1 is really good in itself, and I gave it a 4.5 star. And of course, Spider-Man 2 then followed. It was a fantastic experience to see that on the big screen. But I actually watched Spider-Man 2.1, which was like a newer version that I've never seen before, but they had some like additional scenes and stuff. They were very much like deleted scenes and a bit like spoofy scenes. There was one scene where like J. Jonah Jameson, basically J.K. Simmons, was in the Spider-Man outfit and stuff when he actually got... when Spider-Man packed it in and didn't want to be Spider-Man anymore, and he put it on. So they added little things like that, like quirky things and extra scenes for like in the action bits, but there wasn't any like massive story things in there. But it was still fantastic. 5 star, one of my favourite comic book movies ever made. And now to see that and Dark Knight on the big screen in the space of a couple of weeks has been fantastic. And kind of like bucket list items. Like I've seen these, and the only thing I'd like to rewatch in the cinemas now is probably Lord of the Rings, because I've seen Star Wars recently, Spider-Man, Dark Knight, and as I say, just Lord of the Rings missing probably. And of course, completing that trilogy then, finishing it off with Spider-Man 3. 3 star for this one though, 3 and 3. Yeah, it does too much, doesn't it? You know, it definitely has its faults. I think they could have took the entire Venom thing out of there, to be honest. Or even, because how Spider-Man 2 ended was, you know, Harry actually figuring out that he was Spider-Man. I think going into 3, that was awesome. But then potentially maybe keep, even if they kept Venom and kept the whole Harry thing where he bumps his head, that was still quite good. But then Sandman was just a different thing altogether. That could have been taken away. But like Sandman, that whole story was really good. The Eddie Brock thing, that whole thing was really good and made him who he was with the black suit. And then the whole Harry Osborn thing was also really good. But the 3-in-1 film was just way too many. So that was my whole problems there. But fantastic scene though, the fight scene when they're in again the subway, I think, in the water with the Sandman. That was really good with the whole trains and stuff. But yeah, fantastic trilogy as a whole. Still love it, still nostalgic to me. And Spider-Man 3 especially I really enjoy because the whole black suit was just sick growing up. I absolutely loved that. Next one we have then is a 10-year anniversary of Hamilton. Now this is a movie that is on Disney Plus, and it came out I think 4 years ago on Disney Plus, and fantastic. I've seen it on Disney Plus, but this is the first time on big screen to celebrate Hamilton's 10-year anniversary. If you don't know what Hamilton is, it's a Broadway production by Lin-Manuel Miranda, who has done loads of music for films in terms of Mary Poppins. He did the Mary Poppins Return music. He's done Moana. He's done Encanto. He's done a lot of music for, you know, movies, especially Disney, and he's been very successful at it. And, you know, this is a Tony winning, I think he even won a Grammy for the best album. It has won a lot of awards, Hamilton. And it was a fantastic production to see in person, which I have been lucky enough to do twice. It actually came to Cardiff, and I also saw it initially in London, but obviously not with the cast. The original cast, though, are in the movie, and it's fantastic. They're all really talented. They all make the roles their own, and it is honestly brilliant. 4 star I gave Hamilton. The whole experience was great. Unfortunately, no one was singing in my cinema. It was quite chilled. I was just singing to myself, to be honest. So that is all what I saw in the cinema. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things. Very quiet month in terms of new releases because I've been prioritizing mainly, as I say, going to see older things because it's just been what I want to watch this month. And that's what you got to do. You got to see exactly what you want to see. Streaming wise then, we'll do that next. Only 2 on streaming. Both of, well, one on Netflix, one on Disney Plus. And this is just because I didn't have the Blu-rays or don't have the Blu-rays. So Matilda was on Netflix. Since then, I actually bought Matilda on Blu-ray in a Blu-ray hunting video, but I didn't have her at the time and I watched it on Netflix. So that's why it's in streaming. 4 star though, fantastic. Danny DeVito, I haven't watched it for years. Really good. The whole suspense building of like Miss Trunchbull and all that is brilliant. And it actually made me want to watch the musical again because the musical is such a different take on Matilda, but then the same story with some really interesting actors in there as well. So yeah, fantastic. And the next one then was just a Disney one. We watched a Disney, movie, and we just watched it on Disney Plus, and this is Brother Bear. Underrated Disney classic in my opinion. I don't have it yet. I have been collecting all of the classics, of course, and starting to. But Brother Bear is fantastic. If you've never seen Brother Bear, you should. It's a real story about hope and like brothers coming together who are like from totally different worlds and they just learn to love each other. There's so many different meanings to it. And it's such a beautiful film with a lot of inspiring music in there as well. It reminds me of Tarzan a lot in terms of the music in Tarzan. It's fantastic. But Brother Bear, fantastic. If you've never seen it, you definitely need to. Right, so that's the 2 for streaming then. Now we're moving on, of course, to the Blu-ray watches and the actual physical media stuff. Quite a lot, actually. 2, 4, 6, 8 in total, which is a lot, I think, you know, in comparison to the other stuff. The first one being a totally gifted item and sent to me by the studio for review. This is Fresh from Studio Canal. There it is. So yeah, stars Giancarlo Esposito as well as Samuel L. Jackson in this film. This is a film from, I believe, 1994. So it has had a re-release on Blu-ray for the first time. Fantastic. There is the front there. I'll just show you because obviously if you're interested, it's a film by Boaz Yakin there, and there's all special features on this. If this is a film that you liked back in the day in 1994, then now you can pick it up on Blu-ray. I found it to be okay. I gave it a 3-star. I found it to be quite interesting. Not really something I'm particularly interested in terms of the topic, but they basically use this 12-year-old kid there, Fresh, and he's basically this runner for these like drug gangs, I guess. And of course, a kid running through the streets is not really as much of a red flag than like a man hooded with a bag. You know, it would be more suspicious. So they use kids to run drugs around, I guess, New York, Brooklyn, I think it is. Yeah, in Brooklyn. And he's basically working for Giancarlo Esposito's character, Esteban. So he's had enough of it. He wants a bit of an escape. He hates working, doing it and whatnot, but he's obviously kind of abused and whatnot. And yeah, it's quite an interesting film, but as I say, it's quite intense. And that's, I think, what caught me off guard and initially was a bit like, oh, it's a bit intense for me. But still a good, initial watch and first time watch of it. I did enjoy it ultimately. 3 stars is not a bad score, definitely, but just probably more the enjoyment level and would I watch it again, rewatchability just didn't land for me. But if you did watch this film growing up maybe or years ago, then it's now on Blu-ray if you want to pick it up. Next one then we have is the Conjuring universe. Of course, with the Conjuring Last Rites being released, I did watch the Conjuring universe. And starting there, I watched them in terms of order of release rather than order of like sequential in terms of the universe. So the first one being the Conjuring movie, of course, on 4K. This is a 4K version, the Amaray, that was totally gifted to me, again, similar to Fresh from the studio, but this time Warner Brothers. So thank you so much for that. The 4K of this is fantastic. It's a really, really good transfer, and I really did enjoy watching The Conjuring. 4-star for me. Loved it. We carry on because the Conjuring universe is so many. We then watched Annabelle. I got the Blu-ray version of Annabelle. I gave Annabelle a 2-star. Yeah, very overrated. How they made more Annabelle films, I'm not sure, but it was all about this doll, very blasé, and it felt very amateur in terms of the quality of the film. So I gave it a 2-star. Interesting moments, some suspense moments, and some of the deaths weren't very interesting, but it was still okay. Next one then on that release then was The Conjuring 2, and I gave this a 3.5-star, and I honestly got to say, I think this is probably one of the scariest films I've ever seen in my life. I also watched some of the special features that are on the Blu-ray, and this is actually based on a true story, and the real person, you can read there, the real person who this film is based on did like a documentary thing and went to the set, and it freaked me out. Honestly, I think it's one of the scariest films I've ever seen, The Conjuring 2. But as I say, 3.5-star. Not quite as good as the first Conjuring, but still. Then we have another Annabelle film. This is Annabelle Creation. Again, one of the horror slips that I've got. Yeah, this one is all about how Annabelle became to be. It's a prequel to Annabelle. This one I actually gave a 2-star, same as. Not as good as Annabelle, just more the same, but just a different take. And again, just really using the Annabelle face to just kind of get more money, I guess. Maybe the first Annabelle took a lot of money, so I'm assuming. So yeah, 2-star for that one as well. And then we have another Annabelle film, which I thought was slightly better, and this is Annabelle Comes Home. So this is, more of a different take. And we also get, of course, Ed and Lorraine Warren actually in this film as well. So it was a bit more interesting, a bit more connected to the universe. I felt a bit more, from it, especially like in the Conjuring film. So that's kind of why I probably gave it a 2.5-star. Definitely not as good as, of course, the Conjuring films though. Then we have The Devil Made Me Do It, the Conjuring film. This is the 4K steelbook that I have of this one here. And this one was quite an interesting one in terms of, this whole, I guess, bone structure thing, I think it is. Very interesting one, quite unique. I gave it a 3-star. The Conjuring films are definitely the better films in the universe, but this one is probably one of the weaker Conjuring films of all of the Conjuring movies themselves. But yeah, as I say, watching the entire universe has been pretty interesting. Of course, I did watch Last Rites, which you just heard previously in the video. But yeah, so that is the whole Conjuring universe, of course. And we just need the rest of them on 4K now. That's what we need. Or some sort of box set. And then the final movie that I watched then on Blu-ray was just... My other half loves this film. I think I've actually featured this once this year already in terms of what I watched. But this is Solo. This is Solo, Star Wars story. My other half is a massive Chewbacca fan, and Chewie's in this film a lot. I actually really enjoy it. I gave it a 4-star. It's brilliant. Of course, Alden, Aiden Craig, Aiden Reich, whatever his name is, Emilia Clarke, and Donald Glover. Brilliant cast. Woody Harrelson as well. I honestly really want them to do more of this. I want to see more of Lando and Donald Glover, and I want Alden to actually reprise his role as Solo, and I think it's just such a good time period. And this is one of the best and funnest films Disney have made, I think, for Star Wars, because it is a fun movie. It's just a fun adventure film, and to be honest, kids can watch it, and it's just a good laugh, and you get a lot of Chewie and what to love. So there we go. That is all of the movies that I watched during the month of September. Of course, as I say, it's probably going to be a lot less during the month of October, because as I say, I'm going to have my hands full. But I will be watching films. There might just be a lot less in the cinema. And I do expect my Blu-ray watches to go up over the next couple of months, because I'm going to be home a lot more. I'm going to be chilling. The baby's going to be asleep, hopefully, and relaxing. And I'm going to watch a film in between and all of that. So it's all going to be fine, I'm sure. But as I say, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos coming soon. And if you have missed any of my other previous videos, of course, go back and watch. I've done a few shorts here or there. Go and have a look. And of course, thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos coming soon. And of course, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.